quickly, why must we walk in the supernatural? Before I show us the forces that engenders the release of the supernatural, I give you 3 basic reasons. There are more, but 3 basic reasons why you must walk in the supernatural. Number 1 is because of your life order, the order of life that you belong to. In this kingdom and in the universes of God, there are different orders of life that exist. Even in biology, we understand that all creatures are not in the same class. Creatures are separated into different cadres depending on the order or the quality of life that they have. For example, when this meeting was announced, there was no disclaimer attached to the flyer or the publicity that only human beings should come here. The publicity was public, but when you look around you, there's no dog here, there's no monkey here, because they don't have the competence and the capacity to interact at the intelligent knowledge or intellectual realm where the advertisement was made. Although the flyers are public, no goat read it. They don't have the capacity to read it, and they don't have the capacity to commune at this level. So the order of life that the animals belong to already made it impossible for them to fellowship at this level. If it was possible, they would have loved to, but the life they carry denied them. Now it happens to be that when God created us, He put us in a category of life that empowers us to function in His realm. So the reason we function in God's realm is not just because we desire it. It's because the life we have has included us in God's realm. So it is normal for us to interact in the realm of God. So the supernatural is our natural habitation because of the kind of life that we have. Now, it is not a surprise that you are here in this meeting. Imagine if you walked into this meeting and a dog was seated on a chair. You will wonder why that dog is there. When you are surprised, you will recover yourself and you will drive the dog out, because it doesn't have the right to fellowship at this level. But when you see a man seated, it is normal for a man to be here, because this fellowship accommodates people that have the human life. The same thing applies in the God realm. When we show up in the God realm, God is not surprised, because He gave us a life that supports our participation in the realm of God. This is why the supernatural for you is a must, because if you don't operate in the supernatural, you are not operating in the fullness of the life that you have. When God created man, Genesis 1 verse 26, He said, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, let them have dominion. So when man was being created, there was nothing on earth that man was created to look like. God Himself was the one that man was created to image. So man is a photocopy of an original called God. Let us make man in our own image. So when man functions like God and in the realm of God, is not a surprise, because he was created to operate in the God realm. And for this to be possible, when God created the man, He put 3 kinds of life in him. Man is the only creature that has 3 lives operating in him at the same time. Every spirit have one kind of life, the spirit life. Every animal has one kind of life, the animal life. If you study your Bible and you look at the subject of life, there are 3 dimensions of life you will find. The first dimension of life is called bios. It's the life that powers animals. That life is in the blood. So if you read Leviticus 17 verse 11, it said the life of the flesh is in the blood. So any creature that has flesh must have blood for it to be alive. And the life that sustains fleshly creatures, the Bible said, is in their blood. In fact, the reason atonement is possible is because when blood is presented, blood is not a liquid in the spirit realm. In the spirit realm, blood is life. That is why blood can appear even in heaven, because it's on earth that you see blood as liquid. In the spirit, blood is life. That's why blood talks in the spirit realm. God was speaking to Abel to Cain. He said, the blood of your brother, Genesis 4:9, is speaking to me from the ground. So blood speaks because blood has life, and that life powers the flesh. So because a goat has flesh, goat too has life in the blood. Because man has flesh, man too has life in the blood. This is why when something is wrong with you and you go to the hospital and they want to examine you, all they need to do is to take blood sample. They can tell everything that is in you just by taking your blood sample. Even your DNA can be examined from your blood sample, because a part of you and a part of your life is in the blood. If you cut a man's hand, when that hand is on the floor, it will still be shaking for a while before it dies, because as blood is there, life is in that part of his hand. If you drain blood out of a man's life, all the organs will be fine, but he will die. That means it is not organ that produce life, it is blood that produces life. Organs are mechanisms that manage life. The real life of the flesh in the blood. And because man has flesh, man has life in his blood. But that's not the only life man has. There is another kind of life that God put in man in addition to the life that is in the blood. That life is in his soul. It's called Suke. When God created the man in Genesis 2:7, the Bible said God formed the dust from the ground and he breathed into that dust the breath of life, and he said the man became a living soul. So there is life in the flesh, there is also the life in the soul. So when breath departs, man stops, because another thing that supports your soul is the life that is in your breath. This is why we have superior intelligence to other animals. When animals gather, the smartest of animals is not as smart as a 5-year-old child. If you find a baboon that walks, that makes 1 or 2 statements, if you find a baboon that cooks, if you find a baboon that washes, that's an intelligent baboon. But that's what children do at the age of 7. So the life we have already places us in an intellectual realm that is superior to every animal. Because in addition to the flesh life, there's also a life in the soul that is supported by our breath. We are the ones God breathed into our nostrils. So in addition to the breath on our soul, there is a life encoded there that supports intelligence. This is why no animal can produce an aircraft, no matter how they try. The parrot can talk, he doesn't know what he's saying, he's just reciting. But men have the capacity of cognitive understanding. It's a dimension of life. That life is in the soul. So the life of the flesh is in the blood, the life of the soul is in the breath of the man. But that's not all the man has. After God put life in his blood, after God put life in his breath, the Bible said in Genesis 2:9 that God planted a tree in the midst of the garden, and God hid another life there for the man. And he said the life of the spirit was what God put there. If the man ate of that tree, the man would have become like God, because he was created to be in the image and in the likeness of God. But the fleshly life can't make him that way. The soulish life can't make him that way. It's the spirit life that would have made him. So when Satan saw that the process of transformation was about to be completed, this man already has the life of the blood, this man already has the life of the soul. He quickly came in and intercepted the process and taught the man rebellion. So when God told the man, you will die, the soul was there, the life of the flesh was there, but the man could no longer interact in God's realm because he was not created to be sustained by the life of the flesh. He was not created to be sustained by the life of the soul. If all we have is flesh and soul, we are not different from animals. But God had a superior agenda. He wanted to give us a life that makes it possible for us to enter his realm, so that when he comes into our realm, we can interact with him like family. Satan truncated it, but in John 3:16, the Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And you are asking yourself, was I dead? You are talking to people who are breathing. That means there is a superior economy that God is bringing you into. That economy is the life that makes you operate in the God realm. This is why Jesus was speaking in John 17 verse 3. He said, this is life eternal, that you may know him, the only true God. So when we are talking about the spirit life, we are talking about the spiritual infrastructure that makes it possible for you to walk in the supernatural, to experience the God realm, so that your life does not only end in time, but even in the God realm you have a stake there. So if any man is not walking in the supernatural, it's because he has not come into understanding of the third kind of life that he has. And if that man remains like that, in this realm he's a victim. In this realm you'll be a slave. Because when you begin to go forward in this teaching, you will discover that you don't only interact with men. The soulish life would have been enough. The fleshly life would have been enough if all our interactions were with men. But unfortunately, in this world, spirits also exist here. So if we don't have the life that gives us an advantage in their realm, we'll be a slave of spirits. So the first reason why you must walk in the supernatural is because your life supports it. Imagine if you are here and you are 20 and you are still not talking. That means you have not developed the soulish life. Hope you know, even among men, you'll be disadvantaged. Imagine if you are here and you are 35 and you can't express yourself. When people gather, you will have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 1 head, but they will relegate you to the back because they will call you a fool. That means it's not enough to have the human body part. You must also develop the soulish life to participate with men. Now, that's the same thing that happens with people who don't participate in the spirit. When the matters of destiny are discussed, they will be relegated to the back because they don't have a stake there. This is why you must operate in the supernatural. It's not something that you are being asked whether or not. It's something that you must do because your advantage is there. Jesus said in John chapter 3 verse 3, except a man be born again, he can't perceive the realm of God. That means there are many men that all they know is what eyes see and what ears hear. Those men are slaves. The real men are the ones that see what eyes can't see. They are the ones that hear what ear cannot hear. But there's a life that supports it. Jesus said when you are born into that realm, he said in verse 8, as the wind bloweth. He said, thou listest not from whence it cometh or where it goeth. He says, so are they. So there are some of us that are like the wind. That's why you can't put charm for me and I'm affected. Because when I come there, the animal life will touch it. But the spirit life is like the wind. So when I match it, it can't affect me. I vaporize. That's why some of us, and you can't call my name in a shrine. You are wasting your time. Because when you call me, you won't see my face. You will see fire. Because I am not only flesh. There is something else about me that is like God. I operate in a superior realm. See, when you know some things, your prayers reduce. You won't find people like us. Oh Lord, please help us. Please protect us. No, we are mightily helped of God. We are fully protected by God because we operate in the God class. If you touch me, you touch trouble. I'm not trying to be careful. I am the safety of this realm. He said you are the salt of the earth. He said you are the light of the world. Because when I show up, God shows up. Do you know one of the ways demons fight? They come to hear your prayer. When you pray, demons can tell if they can fight you. Because when when they hear what you say, it shows them where you're operating from. I have the God life. So it is natural for me to operate in the God realm. That's why today I know that people must be healed here. It is not something that will it happen, will it not happen? It must happen. Because when the realm we represent show up, things happen. Are people not breathing here? Is it not natural to breathe? Because the natural life supports breathing. How will miracles not happen? Miracles are natural byproducts of the God realm. So if it doesn't happen, it means we are not touching the realm. And it's not something we beg for. It's something we are born into. We were born into it. It's a life that was given to us. God bettered us into that realm. So you must walk in the supernatural because you have the life of God. And that life is the life of the supernatural. Number two, why must you walk in the supernatural? You are in battle with spirits. If you think your enemies are those your neighbors that gossip you, you are not involved. Those people gossiping you are used. They are containers of demons. If you think your enemy is your boss at work, you are not well informed. The Bible said in Ephesians 6:12, it said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Do you see why your life can't be all about flesh? Oh, no, what do we eat? Where do we pay house rent? All of those are good, but they are for babies. Because the things fighting you, they are beyond the natural realm. He said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. You are fighting demonic princes. Now, if you study the demonic realm, those guys are not demons. Demons are disembodied beings. They don't have bodies, so they possess men to find expression. But when you are talking principalities and powers, you are talking fallen angels. They are princes. They don't possess men. They take over territories. So when they come to Bayelsa, they are interested in the souls of men. So when they come here, they can send demons to possess people. But what they are looking for is the land. They want to create darkness over the land so that men will be their slaves. The Bible says those are the beings you are wrestling. Now imagine, how do you fight such beings if all you have is flesh? You are a slave. Because those beings are already in realms beyond the flesh. He said we wrestle against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. This is why you must walk in the supernatural. Because your advantage is not in time. He said, though we walk in the flesh. 2 Corinthians 10 verse 3. He said, we do not war in the flesh. You eat food in the flesh, but your battles are not in the flesh. You make friends in the flesh. Your battles are not in the flesh. Though we walk in the flesh, he said, we do not war after the flesh. He said, the weapons of our warfare, they are not carnal. That means they are not natural weapons. They are supernatural weapons. So anybody that does not have access to the supernatural has failed and lost the battle. So when we discuss the supernatural, it's something you will see. It's good to have a pastor, a prophet, an apostle that works in the supernatural. God will use them from time to time as systems of intervention. But when we are talking the supernatural, it's not enough to have a pastor. It's not enough to have a prophet. It's not enough to have an apostle that works in the supernatural. It's something that you will walk in for yourself. Because most of the battles you will fight, you may not even be able to reach your pastor. Hope you know that as I am preaching now, my phone is off. Imagine if somebody is under attack now and is trying to reach me. For the next 2 hours, I will be preaching here. I won't touch my phone. That means if that battle should kill him in 2 hours, and I'm the only thing he knows, he's finished. Not because I want to help, but I'm not available. Because right now, my phone is off and I'm preaching. So everybody, in addition to have people that God sent to your life, you too must walk in the supernatural. You must know what to do to win the battles of life. the same way. Whatever it is that God gave them that made them walk in the supernatural, me too, I must walk in the supernatural. Because I have battles as much as they do have battles. The supernatural is a must because you have warfare day and night. And number 3, the supernatural is a must because it is the proof that you are born again. Jesus didn't say we should go out telling people that we are born again. He said they were called Christians in Antioch by those who saw them. They were not the ones that named themselves Christians. The way you know a believer is by supernatural signs. Mark 16:17, he said, these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. So if you want to discover a believer, one of the proofs that a man is a believer is that he walks in the supernatural. So if you are here and you have never cast out demons, you have never prayed for the sick and they are healed, you have never seen any supernatural thing happen to you, everything about your life you can explain it, you are not a believer. You thought you were because you are part of a church. One of the signs that you are a believer is that the supernatural is following you as a sign. Everything you have, you know what you did to have it. You can tell how every resources that came to your life came is by hard work, is by diligence. That is good quality, but it means you don't know the supernatural. Every step you have attained in life, you can explain it. You don't know the supernatural. There must be gaps in your life that you can't explain. That is a sign that the Spirit is working with you. There must be a gap in your life that you can't explain. That is a sign that a divine element is operational in your life. This is the way the believers were called to live. See, there's a move today in the body of Christ where they want to make everything natural. When you talk about health, they say, see doctors. I believe in doctors. This morning, my son he woke up with high fever. They said, oh, he took some things and it's infection. I prayed for him and my wife took him to the hospital. I believe in doctors. They are a huge blessing. But if we depend on doctors to be healthy, we are finished. Because there are demons that are older than doctors. There are principalities that are older than doctors. Even in medicine today, there's what they call idiopathic medicine. There are cases they don't know the source. Like schizophrenia. If you ask them, they can't tell you what is the cause. But we know that demons are whispering to those people. Nobody is mad. They are just exposed to different frequency. When you see somebody who is mad, he's not mad. He's actually aware of another realm. So when you see a madman singing, he's hearing something. A demon is whispering to him. That one is not paracetamol. It can't help. That's why when you go to the hospital, the best the doctors can do is to sedate him. They weaken his senses so that he doesn't hear those things again. But when the senses come up, he will still hear. Because until the demons are cast out, he's not free. You see people today, they tell you, all that you have should be a product of hard work. That God does not bless people. That God's business with us is only about salvation. When you gave your heart to Christ, did you go to heaven? Some of you gave your heart to Christ here 30 years ago. So you mean God is not part of anything about your life that for the past 30 years, all he's interested in is for you to go to heaven. And God expects you to be here, fulfilling his agenda. If it doesn't help you and devils are fighting you, how can you do it? So we want to weaken the supernatural. There is a move attacking the supernatural today. So they're either telling you that Christianity should be natural, Christianity should be explained intellectually, or they are telling you everybody operating the supernatural is fake. So that a day will come when you can no longer believe in the miraculous. And may God help us for that day not to come. Because the day the church loses the supernatural, the church is finished. What is fighting the church is beyond men. It's called the gates of hell. Jesus said, upon this revelation, I will build my church, and the gate of hell shall not prevail against it. So you see ministers who cannot operate in the supernatural, in order to be comfortable as intellectual people, they are attacking the supernatural move, so that you no longer question them, why are they not operating in the supernatural? And they want to lure a generation to go in that direction. I will not be part of a Christianity that is different from the ones my fathers practiced. This Christianity of theologians, everybody carrying verses of scripture and arguing with it. I'm not part of that Christianity. There are 3 testimonies of the authentic Christianity. Number 1, sound doctrine. Number 2, character. Number 3, supernatural power. So you can't just bring intelligence and tell me that's all there is about Christianity. That's not the Christianity that Benson Idahosa practiced. That's not the Christianity that Paul the Apostle practiced. That's not the Christianity that Peter practiced. When Peter prayed and taught in the temple, the Bible said as he went out, they put the sick that a shadow may touch them. And he said everybody that the shadow of Peter came upon was healed. That's the Christianity I want to practice. An internet generation where everybody is looking for popularity, and it's either they use propaganda or they use intelligence. And we have people who are demon possessed. The demon can be cast out. You tell them you are teaching the gospel. Which gospel is that can address demons? Which gospel is that can address cancer? Which gospel is that is all about studio, clips, and theological explanation? Our generation is under attack. We must fight to reclaim the supernatural. I'm telling you, you can hear nonsense and you are nothing yourself until your wife is sick, until your son is sick, until somebody is dying in your presence. That's when you will know how helpless you are. There is no intelligence you have that is enough to contend demons. In addition to sound doctrine, there must be the demonstration of power. Paul said, when I came unto you, I did not come with excellency of speech, declaring unto you the counsel of God. He said, I choose to know nothing among you save Christ and him crucified. He said, my preaching and my teaching were not with enticing words of man's wisdom. They were the demonstration of the spirit and power, that your faith may not be built on the wisdom of men, but on the power of God. Any Christianity that does not show the demonstration of power is the wisdom of men. And that's why when you hear all of these debates online, you see bitterness, you see pride, you see anger. You can't see the character of Christ here because it's intellectualism. Do you know how many sick people came here tonight? You think they came to hear an apostle talk to them about some verses of scriptures only? There are people who came here tonight, if God does not intervene, they may not see another week. There are people who came here tonight, they have carried affliction for many years. This is why we fight for the supernatural and we grow in it. As you do it, see, sometimes you do the same thing, you don't have the result you are looking for. You keep pressing because the testimony of scripture and the testimony of the patriarchs insist that you must function like that. Elohim Adonai. Elohim Adonai. Elohim Adonai. Elohim Adonai. Elohim Adonai. Elohim Adonai. Aliyah. End until you have caught passion for the supernatural. God cannot be glorified without power. A generation cannot be helped without power. You can't fulfill destiny unless you have power. For God to be glorified, there must be the supernatural. There must be power. For a generation to be helped, there must be power. There must be the supernatural. And for you to fulfill purpose, there must be power. There must be the supernatural. I was invited to Lahore in Pakistan. I stood up to preach. They brought buses from everywhere. And the people sat waiting for God to show up. I preached and preached and preached. After 40 minutes, my interpreter was not even helping me at all. When I talk, he will say, wait, what did you say? The unction will dry up. I finished preaching. Everybody was looking at me. Good speech. Where is your God? You think when Pharaoh asked Moses, who is your God? His theology is looking for. The moment he said, where is your God? Moses dropped his rod. He knew the language. There's a place for discipleship, but there's a place for demonstration. I finished talking. Good message. Where is your God? My heart began to beat. And Jesus whispered to me, he said, because I live, you shall see tomorrow. What are you talking about? In the name of Jesus, when I finished, in fear, hoping I will escape, somebody shouted, I can see. The moment that happened, the whole erupted. They were looking for a message that has proof. They are tired of theologians. There are many people advancing different concepts. It's not only Christians that have a gospel. Every religion of the world have a message they call the gospel. They prove that what we are saying, men can bank on, is the proof that we present. How can people trust you for something that can save them eternally, that can't save them here? You are arguing that people are saved eternally, and they are dying in the physical. If your gospel has the power to save them eternally, how come it can't save them now? Let's begin with the temporal matters. If your gospel is that powerful, so eternal salvation is not a theological argument only. If you say your gospel can secure people eternally, it should begin by showing some signs here. The moment eyes open, everywhere erupted. Ears open. A young boy that the bone of the chest was protruded. Bone entered inside. That was when I knew that what we are doing is not English language. Jesus said, the words I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. I would have been bundled out of that country as a fraudster. You think we came here to talk? There are spirits that have vowed that they will destroy you. The reason you will rise is because they will do everything they are doing. It can't affect you. He said when the devil comes in, he said the spirit of the Lord like a flood shall lift up a standard. So the devil will come, but when he throws all his arrows, they fall down. Then he will know that you are different. You think Christianity is about I belong to a church? You are in a congregation so that you are discipled. It's more than belonging to a church. Christianity is divinity expressed through humanity. The world will keep asking us questions. Where is your God? And the way to answer is by doctrine, by character, and by power. This is why you are here. Sit down for a moment. I want somebody to already be angry with living a normal life, so that you don't become a lab rat for demons. When they want to test new disease, they come to you. What nonsense. When they want to test an arrow, they use your family. Somebody will live here today and say the last attack of Satan is the last.